Hello and welcome to episode 88 of the Mouses Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse, and Miss Puppy, my co-host, is currently sleeping in a different bed because this is the wrong day and the wrong time for me to be recording, and the sun's just come back out. I'm trying to strike a balance between recording this in the dark and you not being able to see me because the sun's shining straight through the window. It's the wrong day to be recording this. Today is Monday. You'll be seeing it on Wednesday as usual. Ordinarily I would record on a Tuesday, but tomorrow, Tuesday, is my husband's birthday and he's taking the day off work and we're going out for the day. So I'm trying to get done today all the things that I would ordinarily do tomorrow, including this. And it's surprisingly discombobulating to be doing it on the wrong day. It's also the wrong time. I normally try and do it in the morning and it's now, well, it's gone 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hence the fact the sun has worked its way round and is now shining directly through this window, which is a bit of an inconvenience. But that's what you get for changing things up. Okay, before I forget, I'm going to do the proper podcastery thing and tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Smorgasbord shawl by Stephen West, knit in a variety of leftovers. I finished this, I think, end of August or sometime in September last year, 2022. Blocked it on the washing line, so it's got a pointy edge, and as you can see the points are a little bit not quite as they should be because it was on the washing line with pegs hanging, so they've not blocked straight, they've blocked a bit wonky, but it's okay. This is actually the first time I've had it out of the bag that I put it away in since I finished it, and I only got it out today because it goes so nicely with my t-shirt and I was absolutely frozen. So I thought, I know, I'll get my shawl out and then everyone can see it. If I knitted it again, and I would knit it again, I enjoyed it, I think I would end it here. I would miss out, well, that's the border, but I would miss out that bit, because if it was finishing there, it would be about that long on my arm, which should be a lot more comfortable to wear. As it is, it's, my hands barely poke out the end, which is cosy but not very practical. I can't do much because I feel like there's shawl everywhere. And I tried looking elegant, you know, doing all this with it. I don't look elegant. I look like I don't know what. So I gave up on that idea and I just draped it around my shoulders the way I would normally wear it, because this one is too big to wear like a scarf, which is the other thing I generally do with my shawls. And I've gone into a whole long thing about this shawl. I'm going to put the pattern down below should you be interested. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. I'd already forgotten what it was called before I wrote it down. Okay, shall we get on with what I was supposed to be talking about? I'm sorry about the sun, but if I shut it out anymore, I don't think you'll be able to see me at all. I don't know, that's okay. Right. And calm. The Starflake knit along finishes. Yeah, I'm in my time warp again. Here we go again. Oh, good grief. Right. The Starflake knit along finished yesterday, as far as you're concerned, because you're seeing this on Wednesday. For me, it finishes tomorrow. So, technically it's finished when you see this, but if you haven't finished, or if you finished today, stick it in there. I probably won't look at it until the weekend because I'm going to draw for the prizes next week, which is the 8th of March. So you've got time to stick any finished objects in that you've only just finished. If you're not going to finish, if there's no hope of you finishing, just stick it in either the FO thread on Ravelry or under the Starflake FO hashtag on Instagram. There will be 2 prize threads, one for finished objects, one for unfinished objects. So just whack it in there, even if it's not done. You might get a prize. I think that was everything I had to tell you. Okay, I have got a finished object. I'd hoped for 2, I've only got 1. I finished these. And I've neglected to fish out the pattern, but it will be linked below. Excuse me, still coughing. These are the Wildflower Seeds socks by Dana Ray Makes, and I've just realised something that I did not realise when I was knitting them. I wonder if you can see. There's only 1 row here, there should be 2. I finished them, washed them, blocked them, the whole lot. I've only just noticed. Never mind, don't look at that. So, Wildflower Seed Socks by Dana Ray Makes. It looks like a colourwork pattern. It's not. It's I suppose you could call it a mosaic pattern, I think. Basically, it's done with slip stitches. I used Cascade Heritage Highlighter Violet for the contrast colour, which was left over from my Starflake shawl. And then the other stripe was my February yarn, which is attached to something, so I've got to be a bit careful. This was the leftover. There was loads left over. So I'll show you what I'm doing with that in a minute. Very enjoyable pattern. I normally knit my socks on a 2.25 needle. What the pattern suggested was to knit the rib in that size and then go up to a 2.5 because the slip stitches make them a little bit tighter. So I've done the same stitch count as I normally would, which is 64, but gone up the needle size, and they fit beautifully. They're really nice. So they're finished. I'm trying to do what I've seen other people do. They knit their socks throughout the year and they put them all away in a box and they don't wear them. So I'm trying to do that. This is only the 2nd month, obviously, but I've not worn my January socks yet. Ordinarily, I finish them and they go straight on my feet. I don't block them or anything. But I'm trying to do them that way this year and be a little bit more, well, I don't know. It'll be nice just at the end of the year to have 12 brand new pairs of socks, although there may be 13. We're not getting into that all over again. If you were here for that episode, don't panic. I'm not going into all that again. So, yeah, Wildflower Seed Socks, Dana Ray Makes. Really nice pattern. I really enjoyed knitting them. May try that pattern again before too long. So I had a fair bit left over, and what I've got left over, this is my February colourway for my year of yarn, which is being kind of dictated by Denise of Dear Designs, her year of the sock. I'm using each month's colourway, each month's prompt for a colourway. So this was February's. The prompt for February was violet, highlighter violet, wildflower seeds. I think I've got that covered. And then each month, what's left over from the socks that I make, I'm putting into a shortest day wrap. So I haven't got many rows done at the moment. I don't know if you can see them because the light is rubbish. There's so much reflection on the screen, I can't see if you can actually see anything. So obviously this is the January yarn and February's is just going in above it. This is a wrap which I will also put the pattern down below. Can't remember who it's made by. I've got a name in my head, but it might be wrong, so I'm not going to say it. Essentially, it's knit in the round, and then you steek it here, and you've got a wrap with a fringe. So I've never done anything like that before, never steeked anything, unless you count heels in socks. So I thought I'd give this a go. It seemed like a good project because I can put all my yarns, not all my yarns, that would be a very big blanket, all my year of yarn colourways into this, and then I'll have a nice memory wrap of all the colourways I did in my first year. So that's that plan. Speaking of which, the March prompt for Denise's Year of the Sock is daffodil. So I've dyed up, this is the prototype, it's a bit more highly coloured than what actually went into the shop, but I kept this one for myself. I'm not actually going to make, this is the March colourway, I'm not actually going to make my socks out of this, but I've caked it up because I need it to go into the wrap after February's. I'm going to make my socks out of something a bit more special. I shouldn't really say that about my own yarn, should I? I'm going to make it out of this. I've wound this into 2 cakes. They weigh almost exactly the same, but look at the difference in the sizes. How does that happen? I must have pulled it tighter on one as I was winding than on the other. But this is something special that I've been saving for, I think, a year. It's got darker now. It's going to be one of those days where I spend the whole time fiddling about with the blind. This is... Is that upside down? It is, I beg your pardon. Daffodil. By Dear Designs. And I won this about this time last year for last year's Year of the Sock. And I have saved it for a whole year to make my March socks with this year, hoping that she would do daffodil again, and she has. So these are going to be this month's socks. I've split it into 2 cakes because I'm hoping to do 2 at a time. I've tried it before and I didn't get on with it. I'm prepared to give it another go. I don't like to give up on things. And it was quite some time ago that I tried it. And the yarn that I was using was some that Peter had bought me to make him some socks with. And it was kind of beige. And you know my feelings about beige. So I didn't enjoy the colour, and I think it made it take... It feels like it takes longer because you're knitting, knitting them both at the same time. So it is technically going to take twice as long, isn't it? Sun's back out. But I think the colour didn't help. So I'm going to give it another go. The other reason I want to do them 2 at a time, and this is logical to me, I want to try the shadow wrap heel. And I don't want to do one sock and then knit all the foot, knit the whole leg of the next sock, and then forget what I did with the first one. So I want to do them both at the same time. That makes sense to me. I've steered away from the shadow wrap heel before now because I have quite a high instep. Heel flap and gusset fits me really nicely. So does afterthought heel, which should technically be pretty much the same as a shadow wrap heel. But when I do an afterthought heel, I add in 4 extra rows before I start the shaping. So I've tried a shadow wrap heel before and it was too shallow. But I have since then discovered that what you can do is add in stitches. So I'm going to give it another go. If it doesn't work, nothing's lost. I'll just carry on knitting and put in a afterthought heel when I finish the sock. I hope that all made sense. So next week I should have these to show you. I have not yet cast them on because it is, of course, today for me, and now it's dark again, only the 27th. Yes, the 27th of February, whereas for you it is the 1st of March. So by the time you see this, I will probably have cast these on. What was that program that used to start with confused? You will be. Was it soap? It might have been soap. People younger than me won't know what the heck I'm talking about. There was a program, and if I'm right about it, it was called Soap, and it was kind of a, I mean, it was like a soap opera, but it was a parody of soap operas, so it was called Soap. Was Leslie Nielsen in it? No, I can't remember. Forget all of that. I'd edit it out, but I don't know how. So yeah, just forget all of that. Don't worry about it. Okay, what else have I got to tell you? About to cast something else on as well, because it is the 1st of March. The next shawl on my Stephen West Marathon, Vertices Unite, 1st of March. I've picked my colours. It's taken a while. There's been some substitutions and swapping arounds, but we're there, and it's caked up. First of all, I have this. This is some leftovers from some socks I made for my aunt for Christmas. It's Cascade Heritage Snow, and I think worked out that I've got enough here by weight for the amount of meters I need, so that should be okay. It's got very dark again, I'm sorry. This one, which I'm guessing you probably can't see very well, I think you might have to wait till it's knit up to, I don't know, you can see kind of lots of different greens and browns. This is one of my own, and it was a one of a kind that got dyed up when I was dyeing some other yarns with all the leftover bits and pieces. So it was a one of a kind that I couldn't replicate. It sat in the shop for a little while. I didn't really want to sell it, so I fished it back out for myself. And this one, which is Mince Pie, and that was one of my colourways in December last year. Again, this was left over in the shop, and so I fished that out for myself as well. I don't know if you can see because it's so rubbish lighting, but it's got flecks of orange and burgundy. The idea being that it was like the filling in a mince pie. Now, I don't know if you have mince pies in other parts of the world, but in this country I have heard it cause some confusion with people not from this country, because there are two different types of mince. There's a sort of minced meat that you make chili and bolognese and shepherd's pie and all sorts of things like that with, but there's also mincemeat, which is actually not meat at all. It is fruit. So a mince pie has this fruity filling in, and it's very rich, very sweet, very fruity. Did originally have meat in it as well, apparently. Something to do with preserving it. I don't know. But yeah, so a mince pie doesn't actually have mince in it. It has fruit in it. And that's what this was meant to represent, was the filling in a mince pie. So that's that one. This one, which this is so, it's annoying most days, but today it's particularly annoying. This very bright limey green, again, one of my own colourways, messing about with all the greens I'd got, and I got this one. And this, which is a really rich, dark, chocolatey brown, that took some getting, but I knew exactly the shade that I wanted, and I eventually got it. So these 5 are my Vertices Unite colours, and I'm hoping there's enough contrast between them all. It doesn't look like it there, but I'm hoping once it's knitted up, sun's coming back out. I'm hoping that once they're knitted up, there'll be enough contrast between them that it will look good. If not, we don't want to have to start another one again. I'm trying to put these down, and this one is trying to fall down my front and not go where it's meant to go. So what I will probably do, because the lighting is so rubbish, is take a photograph and stick it in here. I do this because then I know to put the photograph in. So that's my Vertices Unite, which I will be casting on. Is this even worth it, I ask myself. Oh no, that's the wrong way. Does that work? No, because that's gone behind a cloud. Really, this isn't a knitting podcast. This is a fiddling with the blinds podcast. Whip-wise, I'd hope to have my Slipstravaganza finished. I have not. And the reason I have not, mainly, is that each row is now taking almost an hour. Let me haul it out of the bag. I am on the border, thank heavens. However, I have got, oh, I bet you can't see this either. Had I done these triangles last time? I can't remember. I don't think I had. I've got that much of the border done. There are another 4 stripes to go. There are 6 rows. Yes, 6 rows in each stripe. So that's 4 6s, 24 rows, and 2 rows in between each of those stripes. So that's 32 rows at about an hour a row. And then of course there's the bind off, which I don't even want to think about right now. So I could finish it after 1 more stripe. Oh, that's not too bad actually. I could. Oh, this is so bad today. This is what happens when you do it on the wrong day. It's like living in a disco with the light coming and going. It's that wide from the centre to the edge. So, which is a decent width, I think. So I'm torn. I could finish it after 1 more stripe, or I could do another 4. He does give you the option to finish early after 1 more stripe. I don't know. I want it to be usable, and I think 1 more stripe would make it usable. I don't want to be in this situation again, where it's like trying to wrap yourself in a blanket rather than a shawl. So I might do that stripe and see how I'm feeling. I don't want to finish it early because of time restraints, because this one isn't actually part of my marathon, so it doesn't matter. This came off my shelf of shame where all my whips are, left over from last year. So I can take my time with it, but I I think it will be more impactful with all the chevrons, but is it going to be too big? I suppose really, when all's said and done, it's that much wider with the extra chevrons. So 2 inches probably isn't going to make a great deal of difference in the grand scheme of things. We'll see. We'll see when I get there. I'm not going to go through all the yarns and everything because I've done it the last couple of weeks, and I'll hopefully be doing it next week when it's a finished item. So yeah, you don't need me to bore you with it again this week. And then there is my other whip, my Aurora shawl, Aurora Cabin shawl that I have cast on for a second time. I have now got, this is quite hard because it's got all 5 balls attached to it. I've now got this much. That teal looks really dark blue today. I cannot tell you how much I love these colours. And I'm a little bit frightened that the same thing's going to happen again. I'm going to put it aside while I do something else, come back to it, and I will have gone off the colours and be fed up. So what I'm trying to do is work on it every day, even if I only do a single row, which at the moment is easy enough because there aren't that many stitches. As it gets bigger, there will be more stitches. I think I've got to do that to work it into the schedule because it should really have been finished by now. And of course I've restarted it, even though I was probably halfway through the last one. So I've got to keep the momentum going, even if it doesn't get finished until November. I've still got to keep going with it. So there's that. And I think that is everything that I needed to update you with. Now I have to talk about something that you can probably tell from the fact that I'm doing all this. Makes me a little bit anxious. Shop update. So if you're not interested in that, it's been lovely having your company, and I will see you next week, where hopefully things will be done on the correct day and not upset me. It'll just all be all right. If you are sticking around, when you see this, Advents will have gone into the shop. This is causing me great anxiety. There are essentially 2 types of Advents. There is a 24-day mini and there is a Advent Sunday sock set for the 4 Sundays of Advent. Both are available from the 1st of March until the end of June. Both are available to buy either in one lump or to buy with the sock sets 1 Sunday at a time, or with the minis 1 week at a time, so 6 days essentially at a time. They will only be available until the end of June. Come the end of June, and I know it's early, but come the end of June I want to know exactly how many I've got to make, exactly where I'm sending them, what's going on with everything, so that I've got plenty of time, as this is my first year, to get everything sorted out, be happy with everything, not rush everything, have it all done in loads of time, so sitting packed up, probably in everybody's way, ready to be sent out to you in October, November, depending where in the world you are. It is a budget Advent. I've made it quite clear in the listing. It is literally just the yarn that you'll be getting. There's no extras, no chocolates, no sweeties, no anything other than yarn. I've done it that way to keep the costs down, and also because I don't want to, if someone overseas buys them, to work myself into a frenzy about customs and what I've got to put on the form. Because believe me, I will do and have done that before. Haven't I, Sally? If my friend Sally is watching this, She knows because she's the one that kept getting the messages. So if that's not for you, if you're looking for something that's a bit more exciting, then this probably is not the Advent for you. I want to be completely honest about that because I don't want people to be disappointed. So yeah, by the time you're seeing this, they will be up in the shop and ready to go. Well, not ready to go, because they're not going to be ready to go till October, November, but ready to pre-order. I'll talk myself into a hole there. So I think that is everything I have to tell you. I'm frantically thinking, was there something else about those Advents that I was supposed to say that I haven't written down? I don't think I have. Don't think there is. There is one more thing I wanted to tell you though. I am drawing, here we go with the time warp thing again. Tomorrow, or as you are watching this yesterday, I will have drawn for the member giveaway skein for the people who support me on Kofi memberships. So there is one lady that I am unable to message. If that lady's name has come up, I don't know, I'll have to speak on here about it next week. But yeah, so that's the first member skein draw. It's quite exciting. If you're wondering what that is, on Kofi I have set up a thing, it's a bit like Patreon, where you can become a member for a small amount each month, and depending on the level that you're at, there's a discount on Advents, a monthly Zoom, and entry into a draw to win a skein of yarn each month. And I haven't really spoken much about that, but that will be a skein of yarn of your choice, which I will dye up specially for you. So you can pretty much tell me what colour, what sort of vibe you want it to have, and I'll see what I can do with that, and it will be exclusive for you. So there's that. And that's everything. I'm sure that's everything now. So, because last week I was like, yep, I haven't got anything else to tell you, and then I stopped the video, and afterwards I thought, oh, I meant to say such and such, and I can't remember what that was. So it can't have been important, or I've already said it. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go, because I'm now talking myself round and round and into a hole. And I will see you next week. And until then, happy knitting.